Good evening and welcome to this edition of the Evening News for today, Saturday, March the 15th, 2025. I am Joe O'Brien. Thank you for tuning in. In the headlines, elections will be held within constitutional framework. PVP will never betray its mandate, President Ali. $10,000 universal healthcare voucher launched can be used at over 49 accredited labs. Guyana tells US all Cubans working here fall under local international labor laws. And Longtail development to target up to 60 wells, over 1 billion cubic feet of gas per day. Now for the news in detail. With general and regional elections due this year, President Dr. Finale has assured that a date for the upcoming polls will be set within the constitutional time frame and assured the public that the People's Progressive Party civic government will never go beyond its constitutional mandate. More on our lead story tonight. On the sidelines of the launch of the Universal Healthcare Voucher, President Dr. Finale on Saturday provided assurances that elections will be called within the constitutional time frame. Asked by the Evening News when a date would be set for elections, the head of state assured that his People's Progressive Party civic PPPC government will never go beyond its constitutional mandate.
Constitutionally, I still have a lot of time. Elections constitutionally is still closer to the end of the year. So don't worry. What you can be assured of is that this government will not go a single day beyond its constitutional mandate. Unlike what you are accustomed to or what you would have been exposed to after the no confidence motion and leading into that election.
President Ali was of course referring to the 2020 general and regional elections, which were already overdue since the then APNU AFC regime had fallen to a no-confidence motion in December 2018 and were supposed to have called elections within 3 months. However, those elections were not held until March the 2nd, 2020, which APNU AFC lost by over 15,000 votes. But it took another 5 months of delays before President Ali and his government could be sworn in after blatant attempts by top officials to derail the elections. According to the president, Guyanese can be assured that the constitutional timeframes will be followed.
You can be assured that we'll be within our constitutional mandates and confidently we'll be marching into elections, and I'll see you after that.
Joe O'Brien, The Evening News. The highly anticipated $10,000 universal healthcare voucher was launched today, with President Dr. Finale hailing the initiative as one that will empower more Guyanese to get screened for any potential illnesses at over 49 accredited labs countrywide, thus enabling them to access preventative health care if necessary. Here are the details. The $10,000 Universal Healthcare Voucher was launched on Saturday, with President Dr. Finale explaining how the initiative will help improve healthcare delivery. At the ceremony, which was held at the Arthur Chung Conference Center, President Ali announced that persons can go to any of over 49 laboratories of their choosing to screen for non-communicable diseases.
Almost every accredited lab or medical facility will be providing this service, more than 49 across the country. So they can go to more than 49. All that are accredited are on this program. And for those in the hinterland, there will be specific programs work out for the samples to be taken so they can be supported while we grow the capacity in some of these areas.
It was also explained by President Ali that the government of Guyana was able to negotiate massive discounts with these private laboratories for the services that will be covered by the voucher. He went on to laud the private sector for getting on board with and supporting this initiative.
The vouchers that you see here and the prices on the vouchers, there's an added benefit. All of these prices would have in it inherently a 40 to 70% discount from what they were originally at the private labs and hospitals. So even once you have this voucher, it is not only about the $10,000, it's about a 40 to 70% discount on the services that you would receive at the labs and hospitals. And I want to applaud the private sector for their level of consciousness in supporting this initiative.
Meanwhile, the director of the Non-Communicable Diseases and Mental Health Program, Dr. Lachmi Lal, explained what the citizens can expect from the initiative.
Once tested, results will be sent to physicians at our hospitals and health centers, who will guide patients on the next step of care. Testing results can also be picked up directly from providers as well. But we're not stopping there. Special efforts are being made to reach remote communities and hinterland regions because no one should be left behind. School health screenings will be conducted with parental permission, ensuring that our children are monitored for early signs of illness. Community outreach teams will bring healthcare services directly to our people in the remotest of areas in this country. Through this program, we will detect diseases earlier, leading to better treatment outcomes, reduced healthcare costs by preventing complications, improve life expectancy, allowing our people to live longer, healthier lives, and we will also be able to gather critical health data that can improve future health policies.
Among the diseases persons can be screened for are diabetes, anemia, coronary heart disease, kidney and thyroid gland diseases, increased risk of prostate cancer, and cholesterol. Joe O'Brien, The Evening News. The Guyana government has informed the United States authorities that all Cubans working in the country are doing so strictly under local labor laws as well as in compliance of international labor laws. The U.S. recently announced a decision to place visa restrictions on officials believed to be involved in the export of Cuban workers, a move that has been strongly criticized by Caribbean leaders. In Guyana, Cuban medical professionals work in several public and private hospitals across the country. Last week, President Dr. Finali was in the U.S. and met with several top government officials to discuss a number of issues. The head of state told reporters on the sidelines of an event earlier today that assurances were given that all foreign workers here, including Cubans, enjoy benefits that do not breach any labor laws. Here is a look at what President Ali had to say on the matter.
Every country develops their own policy. We have already responded to the U.S. through our official channels. That is, whatever workers we have here, whether it's from Cuba, India, you know we have healthcare workers from all over, from Africa, from India, from Cuba, that they fall under the same labor laws, the local labor laws and international labor laws. We ensure that their contracts and their terms of employment is aligned with international labor law, local labor laws and standards. But we also said to the U.S. if there is any particular information or any specific issue that they wish for us to address, we are more than willing to work with them, because the U.S., as you know, is a very important partner also for Guyana, and we work closely together on many issues.
Will the government be renewing the Cuban Medical Brigade program or continuing it?
I haven't seen the contract to see when that's up, but what I can say is that whoever is working here now, from the Cuban medical workers, that they fall under our local laws, labor laws, and international laws. And as I said, we have responded to the U.S. and we have assured them of this. We have shared with them also information in relation to some of the benefits that these workers get, and that's it.
But is government open to continuing it?
Well, we have to see if the whichever worker is working here, we are very confident that they are working in strict conformity with international labor laws and our local labor laws. So, as I said, we have written to the U.S. to see if there is any other specific information. We have shared with them everything, and we are not in breach of any of the laws.
Have you responded?
No, that was only last week, I think.
And do you know if this is a similar position that's being taken by other Caribbean governments where they're writing?
I can't speak for the other CARICOM governments. I know when the policy was announced in its entirety by Secretary Rubio, we were at heads meeting, and this was one of the subjects that heads would have requested meeting on with the U.S. State Department.
The Longtail development in the Stabroek Block, which oil giant ExxonMobil is seeking authorization for from the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, will target up to 60 production and injection wells, as well as over 1 billion cubic feet of gas per day over its lifetime. Find out more in this report.
The Longtail development is intended to be ExxonMobil's 8th development in the Stabroek Block offshore Guyana. According to the project documents, at least the Longtail, Triple Tail, and Turbot non-associated gas fields would be developed. This means the development will target between 1 billion and 1.5 billion cubic feet of natural gas. The project documents also explains that they are projecting the production of up to 290,000 barrels of condensate, a lighter variation of crude oil derived from natural gas per day. In terms of the number of wells, the development is looking to drill between 24 and 60 production and injection wells. A massive FPSO vessel will also be built with the capacity to store 2 million barrels of condensate. Meanwhile, the Environmental Protection Agency has invited stakeholders to meet with them on not only the Longtail but Hammerhead developments as well. According to the EPA, they will be holding these meetings in a number of regions from March 17th to 28th, giving stakeholders a chance to get more information on the projects as well as share their concerns. Michelle Henry, The Evening News.
Coming up on the other side of the break, police cracking down on loud music, overcharging in public transport. Please stay tuned.
Attention builders and DIY pros. Transform your projects and upgrade your toolkit with Stanley. Start with precision cuts using the circular saw. Tackle tough jobs with the hammer drill. Achieve clean finishes with the tile cutter. Make angled cuts with the miter saw. Power through with the chop saw. And sharpen your skill with the bench grinder. Don't wait. Visit sylviesonline.com or stop by 31 High and Hatfield Streets or Lot 90 East Henrietta, Essequibo Coast to grab yours today. Upgrade your tools. Upgrade your results.
Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party Civic, PPPC, Dr. Barry Jagdeo, has strongly refuted claims made by opposition leader Aubrey Norton that resignations from the People's National Congress Reform, PNCR, were the result of bribery by the ruling party. Trizell Sobers has more.
Speaking at his weekly press conference last Thursday, General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party Civic, Dr. Barry Jagdeo, argued that those leaving the People's National Congress Reform PNCR have made independent assessments of the party's leadership and future, rather than being influenced by financial incentives. Opposition leader Aubrey Norton had suggested that the PNC has gained 10,000 new members since the last election, while simultaneously dismissing the departure of several key activists. He attributed the exodus to bribery by the PPP, a claim that Jagdeo called both fictitious and insulting to those who have chosen to leave the party. Additionally, Jagdeo, in his criticism of Norton's remarks, emphasized that the opposition leader's rhetoric reflects a fundamental misunderstanding of why people are abandoning the party, noting that Norton's refusal to acknowledge these internal issues would lead to further decline in the PNC.
The view that people will only leave the PNC not because of his inept leadership, not because of their failure in government to fulfill their promises, not because of their lack of any vision or plan for the future, not because they are propagating a failed ideology of race, but because PPP is bribing them, as though former PNC members, and particularly Afro-Guyanese, don't have the capacity to make independent judgment. That is how disparaging a view he has of them. And this is something that is typical of the PNC.
Since 2020, several prominent members of the People's National Congress Reform, PNCR, have resigned from their positions within the party. In 2021, Tandy McAllister, a long-standing member and Central Executive Committee member, resigned, citing that the leadership's direction was not aligned with the aspirations of young people, party supporters, and national development. Since her departure, other members have resigned, including Don Hastings Williams and recently party stalwart Amna Ali, a former general secretary and minister. According to the vice president, Norton's misrepresentation of these departures shows how, quote, divorced from reality, end quote, he is, especially because of the PNC's limited engagement with people and poor policy formulation.
Mr. Norton should be writing fiction. He said that he is onboarded by the large number of people who have left the party, and he acknowledged that people will continue to leave the PNC, but he said that the members leaving would give him more breathing room. I think it was a rare acknowledgement of the truth that it's not more breathing room. It would allow him to conduct the divisive politics that he's accustomed to and that he's unwilling to move away from, that is using race as the lens through which he sees everything.
Trishelle Sobers, Evening News.
Public transportation in Guyana continues to be a major concern as commuters complain about loud music, reckless driving, and fare hikes by minibus and hire car operators. On the latest episode of Road Safety and You, callers highlighted incidents of these and other issues that make travel in public transport uncomfortable and unsafe. Some passengers reported being intimidated when they objected, while others shared frustrations about the lack of enforcement. In response, Traffic Officer for Region 3 Superintendent Maniram Jagnanan assured the public that the Guyana Police Force is actively addressing these issues. He outlined ongoing enforcement exercises targeting minibuses and hire cars playing loud music, stating that action is taken against violators daily. He also urged passengers to take responsibility by reporting offenders, emphasizing that their cooperation is essential in tackling lawlessness on the roads. Let's have a look.
In terms of loud music, I want to assure the general public that every single day the Guyana Police Force conduct exercises against hire cars and minibuses, which are the main two vast majority of service provider in terms of public transportation, to see if they're having boom boxes, if they're having loud music. And if they're caught in breach, we prosecute them and lodge their musical equipment. It is your duty to take the number of the vehicle, report them to the nearest police station. Also, if there are persons who are overcharging you in public transportation, take the vehicle number. We have smartphone, it's a modern time we live in, and let us deal with those defaulting drivers.
Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony has remarked that in the next 3 years, Guyana's health infrastructure will be completely transformed as the government works towards building a world-class medical sector. Keroy Williams reports.
In this year's budget, the health sector secured a substantial allocation of $143.2 billion, a 357.1% increase from 2019. The budget includes plans to design and construct a regulatory laboratory and office complex, a national neurological rehabilitation center, and a center of excellence for cancer treatment. Notably, the budget has also set aside funds to finalize the construction of several state-of-the-art health facilities. During a recent appearance on the Guyana Dialogue program, Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony reveals that with these investments, the country's health sector will receive a significant facelift in the coming years.
There are a number of hospitals that we are building. So right now we have 6 new hospitals that would be completed this year and be commissioned. We have also been working on developing more specialized facilities. So lots of construction. So over the from this year to maybe the next 3 years, you would see a change in the hospital infrastructure here in Guyana.
Moreover, to complement these new facilities, Dr. Anthony reveals that the ministry will soon roll out its electronic medical record system. This initiative is being funded by the Inter-American Development Bank. According to Anthony, the contract for this project was awarded to a UK-based company and will be signed next week.
No objection from the Inter-American Development Bank that we could proceed to sign a contract with that company. So next week, we will be signing that contract, and that would initiate the process of starting electronic health records in Guyana. We had applied in collaboration with Mount Sinai. We had applied to the Greater Guyana Initiative. That's a fund that has been set aside by ExxonMobil, Hess, and CNOOC. They had set aside $100 million to do corporate social responsibility types of projects. So we applied to them, and our proposal to them was, look, if we're going to do electronic health records, then we need to have a trained workforce in terms of when something goes wrong, who's going to troubleshoot this? And they have agreed to our project, and they have funded us. And so actually today we just launched that project. The intention is that we'll have a digital health training institute in Guyana. The faculty is going to come from Mount Sinai. They've developed this in modules. And we're going to train people, initially a batch of 60, who is going to work on the implementation that will be starting soon. And all of this is going to be free. But what we'll have is a skill resource that would be available to us. This project would pay them for the first 3 years. And after that, they'll be absorbed into the Ministry of Health.
Kelroy Williams, The Evening News.
Our Berbice correspondent, Andrew Carmichael, joins us now to report that 6 Neighborhood Democratic Councils, NDC buildings in Region 6, East Berbice Quarantine, are set for major upgrades. Here are the details.
The Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development is making significant strides to improve the operational capacity and independence of Neighborhood Democratic Councils in Region 6. That's East Berbice Quarantine, with a multi-million-dollar investment in the construction of 6 new buildings. Work has already commenced on the Hog-Style Lancaster NDC building and the number 6474 NDC building. The Hog-Style Lancaster building has been demolished and a new one is currently being constructed. In the case of the 6474 NDC, that local authority was created when the 5274 NDC was split to form 2 separate NDCs, the 5263 NDC and the 6474 NDC. The new building being constructed to house the 6474 NDC is the one that was used by the former 5274 NDC as a sub-office. Those 2 projects fall under the Ministry's 2024 work program. According to Regional Executive Officer REO Narendra Prasad, this year's budget caters for the Kilcoy Hampshire NDC, Port Moran Johns NDC, Maida Tarlagy NDC, and Macedonia Joppa NDC. These works are being done under the Ministry of Local Government, and tenders have already gone out for the construction of the 4 additional buildings. Prasad said those projects mark the beginning of a major infrastructure push aimed at providing NDCs with the physical space and facilities needed to better serve their communities. The REO's comments came while addressing a recent Regional Democratic Council meeting. According to Prasad, the investment is part of a broader push by the Ministry of Local Government to ensure that NDCs across the country are equipped with the necessary resources to effectively manage their communities and implement regional development programs. Andrew Carmichael, the evening news.
And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbour Bridge will be closed to vehicular traffic on Sunday, March 16, 2025 at 5 hours 45 for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the Berbice River Bridge is expected to be closed at 5 hours 25 on Sunday, March 16, 2025, also for a period of 1.5 hours.
Milo on the 18 football on the way. This and more coming up in the Sportscast after the break.
Attention builders and DIY pros. Transform your projects and upgrade your toolkit with Stanley. Start with precision cuts using the circular saw. Tackle tough jobs with the hammer drill. Achieve clean finishes with the tile cutter. Make angled cuts with the miter saw. Power through with the chop saw. And sharpen your skill with the bench grinder. Don't wait. Visit sylviesonline.com or stop by 31 High and Hatfield Streets or Lot 90 East Henrietta, Essequibo Coast to grab your